Good evening and welcome to the December 9th, 2025 meeting of the Milton Select Board. As our first item of business, please rise if you are able and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Our first item of business is public comment. By Select Board rule, we allow 21 minutes total for public comment. Each speaker is asked to keep their remarks to 3 minutes, and so that as many people may speak as possible. I will keep track of the 3 minutes. Mr. Milano will keep track of our 21 minutes. And I don't know if, did anybody sign in? I didn't see any signatures when I walked by. Do we have anybody here for public comment? Do we have anybody online for public comment? All right, well, seeing none, then I will just move us along. So we have 2 items coming up here that are similarly related. Route 28 Randolph Ave Road Diet Pilot, and then we're going to be hearing from the Traffic Commission report and recommendations there, much of which will revolve around Route 28 Randolph Road Diet Pilot. So what I'd like to do is first, Member Hegarty is going to recuse herself so that we can get an update from Mr. Milano from the state side on the Route 28, and then we'll move along to item 5, at which point Member Hegarty will be able to rejoin us. So Mr. Milano, I'll ask you if there's any news or anything else to add from the state.
I just would just like to share that the listening session with Mass DOT was held last night in this room from 6 to about 7:30. MassDOT presented for about 15 minutes and then turned it over to questions and comments. A number of comments and questions were received and responded to. Feedback was, I would say, largely supportive of the road diet, but even when there were some positive comments, there were questions about aspects of it. Within that, some of the themes were, as we've heard before, in terms of getting onto Randolph, especially going southbound, heading out of Milton, the impacts in Reedsdale and in the neighborhood and the neighbors in there. A bunch of questions from folks who are close to the DPW yard in terms of why the delineators are located in that stretch from between Reed and Pleasant. That impacts their ability to get in and out of their driveways and on and off Randolph Ave. I think those were largely some of the themes. That event was recorded, organized by Representative Wells and Senator Driscoll, so we appreciate their support. We appreciate the MassDOT team for coming out. Comments, as always, can be submitted through the MassDOT website. There's a dedicated project page as well as a dedicated project email where comments and questions can be delivered. They are responding and taking that feedback. So just appreciate the ongoing engagement on this issue. And any questions or comments can also be directed to the town through our office or through to the Select Board directly.
Great, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Milano? Does Mr. Wells, I don't know, you're just going to have to let me know if he puts his hand up. Okay. So seeing none, then I think let's move along to item 5, which is the Traffic Commission report and recommendations. And I believe Member Hegarty can rejoin us at this point. Mr. Milano, do you want to kick this one off too?
Sure, and I apologize. DPW Director Marina Fernandez did have a conflict for this evening. I did share late with the board notes from the prior Traffic Commission meeting that outlines the conversation that the commission had. Sergeant Chris Ernst and Chief John King from the police department are here this evening because there are specific questions that they may be better suited to answer. I did provide a copy and hard copy as well. The commission discussed the impacts to the Clifton Road area, Clifton Road specifically, but also the other streets that run parallel to it between Highland and Reedsdale, Spafford, Buckingham, Martin, and Clifton. The commission talked about whether installing time-restricted do-not-enters that would limit access off of Reedsdale onto those side streets. The commission, the note from DPW Director Marina Fernandez notes that there would be an impact to emergency response, impact to local traffic and rerouting as Any do not enters would also exclude local traffic, such as residents on those streets, and it would add an additional challenge in enforcement, since each street would have to be monitored individually. The commission also discussed, which had been brought to Mr. Wells, I think was the first to broach it, was the idea of establishing no left-hand turn from each of those 4 streets onto Highland. That would also be time restricted. And I think that was a place where they felt that it would require good signage, good messaging, because there would be natural confusion for drivers who don't necessarily know that that left turn is prohibited. So getting creative about messaging on Reedsdale and signage at the bottom of those streets so folks don't go up those streets expecting to be able to turn left. But once the map systems and map applications caught up, that was a restricted movement, our expectation would be that traffic would naturally drop a bit, and there would be less impact to residents on those streets, as they'd still be able to access their street during all 24 hours. So enforcement would be a little bit different, and again, if there are specific questions on the enforcement side, as police might be able to be stationed in a single location and have better line of sight in terms of anybody taking an illegal turn onto Highland. So the Traffic Commission did not make a formal recommendation, deferred that decision to this board, but I think broadly has ongoing and continued concerns about installing do not enters around town, but more open to a more limited change. And again, I'm summarizing and speaking at high level, so I wanted to deliver at least a summary point.
Great. Questions or comments from the members?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mr. Daly.
If Sergeant Ernst or Chief King would be willing to answer. I got the feeling from the Traffic Commission that the preference from police would be the no left turns as opposed to the do not enters. Meaning, and some of that was because the do not enters you thought would restrict some of the emergency vehicles. Am I correct in that?
Please, if you guys want to join us up at the front table, that'd be fine, Chief and Sergeant Ernst.
That mic is sensitive, so if whoever's speaking, if could just grab it and redirect it.
Emergency vehicle actually did come up. I think that was more of a concern on the fire than the police, so it's not a huge concern on our end, but we recognize that concern, but that was more fire, so I don't want to speak on their behalf. I know you said prefer, but that's like a 2 options choice.
Yeah.
We're not fans of the do not enter for a lengthy list of reasons, but if you present in that sense, yeah, we strongly are against the do not enter, so the left turn would be preferable, but that eliminates all other options. I mean, I feel this is a MassDOT problem. There were 30,000 cars. They turned it to half the lanes there were, and that's obviously going to divert it into these people's neighborhoods. So I feel there's probably other solutions. I'm not a traffic engineer, but we should look at other solutions. I feel it's a MassDOT problem, and there should be a MassDOT solution that gets these cars back on the road and off of Clifton, off of Highland, off of all those surrounding neighborhoods. It's not just that neighborhood. I have emails tonight from the Hillside Neighborhood Association within the last 3 hours about this issue. So I just feel I have concerns about putting a Band-Aid during a test phase, because you alter the effectiveness of that test if you start changing the surrounding streets during a test phase. So I disagree with that philosophy, just my opinion. But the long term, if the Randolph Ave stays, I feel there's better solutions out there. So I'm probably not really answering your question, but if you say out of either the 2, yeah, I would prefer the no left turns over the do not enters.
I think in listening to the residents of those side streets, in hearing their ask is like they're asking for something that happens in this test phase, in that we're trying to do some alleviation of the traffic that are on those side streets, whether it works or not, and we have to change it, but something that gets folks off those streets. I think coming into this, I would have said I'd be more of a fan of the do not enter, but I'm definitely going to defer to police and fire and things you think that can be enforceable. And looking at the no left turn, that being at the top of the streets as well as the bottom, I think that possibly would update the apps, change the rules of the road a bit, which would get the GPS apps from sending or diverting people down the side streets, and telling them they cannot make that left turn during the time. But in that, if we're able to put those signs up in the interim, is there opportunity for us to continue to partner with MassDOT to find some of those other solutions, or have a better connection between the Traffic Commission and the state, and thinking about other ideas as we're piloting another piece on top of the pilot we have existing? Are there any thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I said, I don't love altering a road at all in a test phase. I just feel like you're not really getting a true test. So I get the ongoing, like, provide some relief while working with MassDOT. But, what's that relief going to be, and how does that affect that? I'm not a traffic engineer, and I really stress that. I think that's more of a DPW question than a police question. We're really limited to just enforcement. I know the traffic counts were high on those streets, but now you do the do not left, you're putting all those cars back to the intersections. I mean, that's where they belong, certainly, but those are the same intersections that I'm getting complaints. There's gridlock in the intersection, you need a cop in the intersection. I can't have a cop on Clifton, I can't have a cop in the intersection of Library Corner, another officer at the intersection of Randolph and Reedsdale. It's just not reality. So you divert, I'm also a big fairness person. That's a huge concern on these do not enters. Spafford Road came into us, and we denied them a do not enter. So, you do Clifton, you really have to do those 4 streets, and I just think it isolates that neighborhood. I think it impacts residents, and I speak from experience on this. Everywhere this has been done, these poor residents rely on that, and I get their concern, their safety concern, but then they can't go in those streets. Mm-hmm. And they call for the police to come down, and then they get a ticket. And they're just as mad as us if we're not there. We're in really a no-win situation. So I don't like these Band-Aid approaches that just put an unrealistic burden on the police department. I think MassDOT probably put a good faith effort in and came out with a design, but are there other design options? Could it stay 2 lanes each way with more sets of lights or different time and sequence, barriers in the middle? I mean, there's a million things if you just drive around other communities you see. I don't know what that right solution is. I think that lies with a traffic engineer. I'm 100% sympathetic. I have friends on Clifton Road. But is this different than Warren Ave? Is this different than Hollis Street? Those are the neighborhoods that I deal with all the time. And these people come in and say, well, why did they get do not enter and not me? And that's a tough thing to explain if you're not being fair and consistent. We'd be better off with guidelines. There's got to be a minimum number of traffic cars. There's got to be certain criteria. So I just don't like subjective decisions, because I feel we're going to lose credibility on my end. So I'm strongly against do not enters. We've denied them in many places. And so you guys are the decision makers. I don't care. I really don't. I don't have a personal interest in it. I'm 100% sympathetic. These poor people, all of a sudden have 400 extra cars on the road. That's an awful situation. I get it. But there's other streets in town that are little side streets that are getting 700 cars. So I just want to have the same credibility when I'm dealing with them that I've stuck to this. We don't believe in it. All those time restrictions mean the enforcement has to be at the same exact time. It's impossible for the police to be there consistently like that. And like I said, they're dealing with a brunt of it, but they're not the only street. There's other streets that lead in and off of Randolph Ave that are dealing with the same thing. We've heard complaints from Mark Lane, Heather Drive, Hillside, Forest, people going up Ridgewood. They're cutting over Brewster and Harborview, popping out on Eager. So I just want to know, how do we handle them when we do something in one spot and not another? So that's kind of my perspective. But I welcome Chris, like I said, and I respect different opinions. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. 100%.
Are the no left turns easier from an enforcement aspect?
They're easier to enforce. There is a phase like Nick discussed. I think there's a learning phase that could frustrate some residents, but I do think over time it could minimize it. I think the phase is you're going to get some people go up who maybe try and do the right thing, and then you turn in a driveway and go back down Clifton. You can have some maybe turn right, you turn at Highland Lane. You can kind of loop that little triangle there, or you turn a driveway and go. I do think as the apps catch up with that, it would probably reduce it. I do think it's an easier enforcement for the police, because on the no left turn, you could arguably put an officer on Highland Street and he could see any car turning left out of any of those 4 streets and enforce it. If you want to enforce a do not enter, you need somebody on the bottom of Clifton, the bottom of Spafford, Buckingham, Martin, each one of those. So that's harder to enforce. You'd be choosing one of the 4 each day that you could spare somebody there. So I do think it's easier for enforcement purposes from a police end.
Other questions?
I just want to add a comment. So I think the chief made an important point about, any change in a traffic pattern, it's a network. It's going to have a network effect. I really think the DPW traffic engineers, the police department need to look at that area holistically. I know we've had certain streets vocal because they may have been receiving more of the impact, but there has to be a way for the DPW to collab. I mean, MassDOT has tools, traffic analytics, et cetera, different models that can probably be looked at. And I think, there's a lot of different ways to get to a solution, right? So I think it's really people putting their heads together, and leveraging some of those tools. I think the no left turn is an interesting idea. I understand about the do not enter sign. I have a do not enter sign on my street. I have been pulled over for going through my do not enter sign. I didn't realize that you could get pulled over as a resident. Learned that the hard way. So anyone out there in the public, just because your street has it doesn't mean it applies to you too. And they are difficult to enforce. I don't think we really do one ways in this town. I've never seen one. Again, like it would require, if you had a network of one ways, like that might disrupt. It would frustrate drivers, and would be a huge disincentive to cutting through the neighborhoods. But again, like I don't know if that's really like something that Milton does. But there are many ways to think creatively to address these things. That I just think it requires our town staff and the state talking about it.
Mr. Wells does have his hand up.
Mr. Wells, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to make sure, is Ms. Haggerty done?
I am done.
You sure?
Yes.
I can talk
Okay.
a lot about this topic.
I know you can. I can too, and I don't want to, so.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, I'm going to have a couple comments, and I'm going to make a motion, if that's okay with you.
That's fine by me. I still have some things to add, but would
That's fine.
happy to
I'm
take
just
the
going to
motion.
make it, only because time is, as you know, is the thing for me tonight. I don't have so much time. I'll make a motion just for the purpose of discussion. So to the chief's point of view, as he knows, I've sat in the same seat for a long time and chaired that commission, which he fortunately doesn't have to do. I agree with the do not enters, and I've said this publicly. I said it in the residents' meeting. I said it in our meeting previously. It just, for years, this town used it. Chiefs before, traffic commissioners before my time, a lot during my time, and in Chief King's time, we've started to move. And I always understood it because I used to think that for the one that you give the do not enter to, the others that don't have it, they suffer the brunt of the extra vehicles that would have gone on the streets that you restrict. So I think for all of us to include the police department, because I don't think we need 100 people in his front lobby tomorrow or our front lobby, I think we have to try something. I do want to, even though my time with MassDOT is new, I have to give them credit. They've been very, and Mr. Milano knows this, they've been very cloud with their engineers, Howard Stein Hudson. I mean, they've done everything they can with us here to try and do this. I mean, as the chief had mentioned previously, I said this last night, he had thought about Jersey barriers, but that would have made it even tougher for turns. So, and as far as the pilot, I don't think it goes away. We may be tweaking it, but I think some semblance of what MassDOT has put in place is proven to be much safer than what existed before that. And so I think in some way, shape, or form, you're going to see it. And I think, however, the roundabout, when it's completed, plays into it, which will be a constant flow of traffic. No matter how you look at it, there'll be no more red, green lights. It'll be constantly flowing, both in peak and non-peak hours. So given that, my motion, Mr. Chair, that I'm thinking about would be to go with option 2 that the Traffic Commission discussed, which would be installing no left turns, Highland and Clifton, Highland and Martin, Highland and Buckingham, and Highland and Spafford. My only thought would be, and I'm going to ask the chief to weigh in this, I think 3 to 6 might be a little. I think most of them, Chief, most of them are like 7 to 9. They're 2 hours versus 3, 7 to 9, and 4 to 6, or 5 to 7. I just wonder my motion would be to make it from 4 to 6 versus 3 to 6. I just wonder what you think of.
The mornings are 7 to 9. The afternoons, it depends on where they were. Some of them, they really predate me, but I think you see the 3 to the earlier ones, like on the streets by like Milton Academy, like Center Lane, Sires Lane, those. Some of the other neighborhoods, they're more in the 4 to 6 range. I'd really defer that decision to the data we collected and what, the residents probably know what the peak hours are, but I think it shows on the data. I just don't have that in front of me.
Well, MassDOT definitely has it. MassDOT has one. So my motion, and we may have to change it, Mr. Chair, my motion is going to be the hours, and that would be from 4 to 6 on all 4 of those locations that I just mentioned.
Okay, motion. Thank you. A motion's been made. Is there a second?
I second.
Seconded by Ms. Hegarty. Mr. Wells, if you're all right with that, would like to entertain.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. I just want to get it up there.
No, thank you. I appreciate you putting it on the floor. Are there before we go into a vote, other comments or questions that folks would like to make? I, as you can tell, probably have one, but
my only quick comment is I still think that conversation should continue to evaluate the other potential downstream impacts. I mean, every single move you make can have an additional impact. So it's just I think it's analyzing the whole neighborhood, running different scenarios, but I think this is a worthy test.
I second what Member Hegarty has said. And I think if we're going to do the left turn signs, that we engage with the neighborhoods to let them know that we're going to be putting those up. More than the folks that have been able to join us and speak, that we're talking to them about, we're going to be putting these signs up, talking about the hours, what the changes are going to be. And secondly, that we engage MassDOT a little bit more directly, to Chief King's point about other options. I think MassDOT has been hesitant to interfere in local roads. They've really been sticking to Randolph Ave in the state space, but I think if we ask them, they're willing to come in and give us some, they've run these pilots and these tests across the state. They can give us some other options, tell us some other results they've had, but we're going to need to actually ask for that help and that engagement. So it's not just us trying to think of, impact on our residents, but the whole road diet and 28 and all of the overflow, sort of holistically, not just us doing local and them doing the state piece, that we're all putting this together.
Thank you, Mr. Daly. Mr. Wells, I have 2 questions for your motion, and then I have a quick question for the Traffic Commission. So I might do the Traffic Commission question first, and then come back to you. One of the options that we talked. Okay, thank you, Mr. Wells. One of the options that we talked about on this board, the last time we had this discussion, there was, I can't remember which of the neighbors it was, but made the observation that there was a lot of left-hand turns taking place. Like people were coming up Pleasant, and then instead of turning left onto Randolph, they'd go past and then turn left onto Clifton, which was a significant source of traffic. So one of the ideas I think that was mooted was that they're maybe putting no left-hand turns into any of those 4 streets from Randolph, right? So rather than the left hand onto Highland from Randolph going in towards the library, or that's Reedsdale, on Reedsdale going in towards the library, no left-hand turn on any of those 4 streets. Was that discussed at the Traffic Commission as a possible?
No,
Not that I can remember.
no.
As I say that, does that sound like something else that, in terms of an enforcement issue, it seems to me like you'd have kind of a similar situation where you could just have somebody observing to see if there's any left-hand turns taking place there.
Yeah, I don't want to say it's impossible. I'd say that's slightly different, trickier than the other one, because on the other one, you have 4 streets exiting, arguably all turning left. So whichever street that car comes out of all
definitely on
4,
Highland.
they're turning left, so there's a cop in one position can grab all 4. If the cop's sitting on Reedsdale, he has to really be beyond the 4 to observe all 4.
Yeah.
But now if they turned up the first one, Clifton, you got to chase up to get them to get up. You're not going to be kind of as efficient or effective catching those people. So I do think it's more difficult to enforce. That almost is like the do not enter. You almost have to monitor every street. And while I agree that's happened, I've seen it. I've gone to Clifton Road to like monitor traffic and stuff. That happens. That's only solving that coming from the east side headed westbound. It wouldn't solve all the people that are coming the other way from the library and the hospital and backing up the light and turning right. So I feel that's less effective, because if you're going to do it by doing it at Highland Street, you're stopping the cars whether they came from East Milton or whether they came from Kelly Fields. That solution would only solve the ones coming from East Milton, not the ones coming from Kelly Fields. So I feel like you'd be going all through the work, all the same enforcement, probably worse enforcement, and you probably get in, I feel, less than 50% of them. I feel like more than 50% are coming the other direction.
Okay, thank you. That's helpful. So then I have a quick question for Mr. Milano. In terms of the actual cost, in terms of putting up signs, is there a general ballpark figure for how much it would cost to put up 4 signs? I'm just curious.
We put them up in-house, so it's an internal operation of staff. It's the cost to purchase and the time to install.
Minimal. So I guess I think to Member Hegarty's points, which I think were really well made, I think it's essential for us to continue to try to work with MassDOT to see what kind of other resources we can have to look at this issue, because I think as Chief has pointed out and Sergeant Ernst, it's complicated, and one fix may not necessarily, almost certainly won't solve the whole problem. My thinking on this is that we may want to put up those signs for a period of time and then come back to evaluate them, because I think sometimes what's happened with traffic situations is you put up a fix and you leave it there, and then it stays there for an age, and then possibly something else gets resolved and we don't need them anymore. So it may make sense to put like a 6-month window on it, to come back and to continue to work with MassDOT, and then if there are other solutions that MassDOT or our own DPW can kind of come up with that allows, there's a sort of a natural lapse for that, for those signs, and then in 6 months, if it seems like everything's working and the neighbors are happy with it, we can keep them up. Or if there's another solution that's presented itself, maybe then we can figure out what that other solution is. I worry that if we put them up now, we may feel like we've done our jobs, and I don't want us to walk away like we put up 4 signs, job done, right? Like we need to continue to engage with MassDOT on this as they continue to work on the pilot and the road diet. So Mr. Wells, my question to you is, would you be willing to entertain a friendly amendment to your motion to make it for a 6-month period?
So why don't we say this? Why don't we say, pending additional info, let's make it for the period of the road diet. I can't remember what they said. They did say the date last night. I just don't remember. I don't remember if it's Mr. Milano might know. I can't remember if it's April. But why don't I could live with 6 months. I have a comment to your comment, if that's okay.
Of course.
So I brought up the issue
Oh, I think we might have just lost you, Mr. Wells.
Because I made note of everything that we talked about. So in a meeting that, am I muted?
No,
you're
you just
on.
kind of faded out for a second, but you're back now.
All right, okay. So in a meeting, we had a pre-meeting earlier in the week, and I presented all the things that I knew that the traffic commission talked about, and the suggestion that came to us, that you just brought up, the resident brought up about the no left turn from Reed Steeling. I came up, whether it was Howard Stein Hudson or MassDOT themselves who felt, and I kind of agreed, that a no left on Reed like that, just as Chief King described, would be too dangerous and probably would not meet what is called the MUTD, the Mass Unified, Traffic Definition. So that's why I didn't include that in my motion. But I could go with 6 months. So why don't we say, what's today?
Well, we could maybe
Wanna
say
go to
from
April 1st.
Yeah, do we want to do it today, or do we want to? Because I think there's a messaging component too, where
Should
do
we
we?
just make it to the end of the road diet?
We could just make it to the end.
There's no specific date. The website says spring of 26, and they've called it a 6-month diet.
So maybe like
pilot.
June 1st or something
I
like
think
that.
that makes sense.
I would do that.
Okay.
Because we're not traffic engineers. Like,
Yes.
I don't know if like.
Well, and we can. I think the select board can at that time continue
Yeah.
to well, obviously continue to look at this, and so they if it's working well, they could just
Yeah.
we could vote to stick them up permanently. But I think as our own sort of non-engineered pilot, maybe this is something that we could do. So, Mr. Wells, are you okay with that? Like a June 1st revisit date?
And just to what Ms. Haggerty said, is from everything I've seen in the meetings I've had with them and all the things that I've listened to, then they're taking this very serious. The truth is, this is about the preservation of life. And as the chief and sergeant Ernst know, the reason they're here is from the multitude of serious accidents. The whole reason for the roundabout, multitude of serious accidents, fatalities. I was impressed that they not just were looking at the 28 corridor, they were looking at all the side streets we've talked about. They're looking at Hillside, Unquity, Route 138. They're trying to take the 30,000 foot view versus just an ad hoc, and I appreciate it. And I don't see them going away from this. I think they realize the significance of this, and as I said last night, there are many wonderful things about this community. Unfortunately, commuter traffic especially, is not one of them. So I'm fine with whatever you want to put on it for time frame. And my only question is, do we want to go 4 to 6 instead of 3 to 6? I think 4 to 6 is more in unison with what other restrictions are across town, as the chief and I just mentioned.
I'm looking into the audience to see if there's any strong preference one way or the other. 3 or
I
more.
work with the buses, yeah.
I don't think you can take that from I think you need to look at what you've got existing, because as the chief will tell you, when you do for one, then you're gonna get into which is how the whole do not enter thing, the town got into we gave them out, not we, I guess it was the town, and this, most of my career, way before my time, and someone came for it, and if they made out, they just got it. And I don't think anyone was looking as big picture back then as what Chief King has described to you, the way things looked at now.
Can I ask a quick question?
Of course.
Mr. Wells, the reasoning behind 4 to 6 as opposed to 3 to 6?
Because that's what all the others are.
Oh,
So
okay.
if you fall, and
Just
I'm
for
picking up
consistency.
something. So the entire
Okay.
Center Street, Sias, Center Lane, all that down there, East Milton, Rose Street, Otis Street.
Okay.
And I might not have noticed, all those PM, because these are what you'd consider PM restrictions. All the PM restrictions are 4 to 6, just as the AM restrictions are 7 to 9.
Okay.
Is that?
I think John had a.
Yeah, John. I'm sorry.
A concern about school buses?
Is this school buses?
I was thinking 4 to 6 would be.
Would be better for the school buses.
Marina mentioned that the signage may be able to say, accept school buses. There's one school bus that comes up from Glover between 3:30 and 4 o'clock and takes a left on Highland. That would be the one thing we would. But the traffic is consistency from 3:30 to 6:30.
So if we do 4 to 6, and then we also include a school bus exclusion, is that? It's the school bus has gone before 4?
4 to 6 would be,
Okay. Well, I think maybe let's try 4 to 6, and then again we can revisit this if you guys are like it's terrible at 2:30 in the afternoon. We can figure that out. Is that consistent, Chief King, with the other signs around town, the 4 to 6 window?
Yeah, I think 4 to 6 is consistent. I think that's when the problem is. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It's not prior to 4, really, right?
picks up at 3:30.
3:30.
3:15, I'd be happy with anything.
Okay. All right. So we have a motion. So Mr. Wells. Oh, sorry.
John's got a
Yes,
point.
John, you have a comment.
Are they gonna have a grace period? So when you pull them over, you're gonna say no more?
I mean, unofficially, yes, they do, but like we don't order it as a grace period. I think it's just the cops have common sense, so to speak, and they really give that learning curve to people generally.
your
But I
first
just
time-
don't say it's a grace period, meaning they
Yeah,
could technically
You
issue
can
a
break the law
ticket.
for 2
Yeah.
weeks. Yeah.
But when you first start doing it, you're gonna need more than one policeman there, right?
Yeah, well, if there's no left, I think we could enforce that. The problem is you could have 10 cars at once with
Right.
the cop. Yeah, I mean, we'd have to put more than one to be effective. But sometimes even if you only grab some, you might not grab them all, but they're going to see those cars getting stopped, which has an impact usually because they'll know they got caught today, I might get caught tomorrow. So
And then once they get the ticket or warning, they gotta go back down?
no, they would probably let them go just
They'll
because
let
of a
'em go.
safety hazard to turn them around. Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome, John.
Can I ask a question? I know in the last, is that all right?
That's yes.
Oh, I can wait.
No, it's totally fine.
I
We're-
know at one meeting I was at, there was mention that there might be like a flashing light sign on Reedsdale, just notifying people of the change of traffic pattern.
I had the same question. So for the folks who are at home, the question from the audience was what kind of signage, flashing lights or otherwise, would be posted to make people aware of the sign change. Is that about right?
Just so
Would you do like digital?
we have
message boards?
we had or
That's
have or had a variable message board that got hit over the weekend. The one outside of DPW.
My
And
condolences.
So I talked to him.
Was it you?
No,
So we talked.
it's just a hard.
We
yeah.
we were talking this afternoon, so we are working on it. But we would, and the idea that Marina and I were discussing was both a variable message board to announce it, and then also signage, permanent temporary signage at each of the locations. So
Okay.
where
We have a time frame on when we would get that sign installed.
we'll have to work on it.
Okay.
Just with the recent events. Does police have one? We thought maybe. you
Yeah,
did,
so DPW has it and we have it.
Yeah, we do.
We have
You have one.
Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Okay.
I wasn't sure, and we hadn't talked, so
Yeah,
one down.
That was my one to go. Don't take that as a challenge, folks. Because that was a concern for me too. If we didn't have clear signage, then, and I think to Mr. Driscoll's point, folks aren't quite aware of it yet.
There's definitely a learning curve. Like-
Yeah, there will be a learning curve. There's, life is a whole learning curve.
And just with the holidays and with expected lower traffic, that by the time the regular world starts back up again, I would expect a long learning curve only because we should expect lower volume and lower exposure for the next few weeks here.
That's correct. The final question too, in terms of the apps, when do they get? So I know we'll inform DOT of this, and then they inform the apps.
Yes.
So usually like a week lag.
No,
I can't speak
I
to
think
that.
last night, what they said in the meeting is they communicate directly with the app services,
Okay.
but they are unable to say exactly when they will update.
Okay, but they know. All right. Okay, that's good.
Thank you.
Okay, so then I think we still have the motion on the floor to follow the second recommendation from the Traffic Commission, which would be install do not left turns, restrictions from 4 to 6 p.m. on Highland from the 4 roads of Spafford, Buckingham, Martin, and Clifton, and to revisit the decision on June 1st while continuing to meet with MassDOT. And it's been seconded by Ms. Haggerty. You take all the amendments as friendly amendments as the
Yeah.
seconder? Okay. Any further discussion on this? This will be a roll call vote because we have Mr. Wells hybrid. Mr. Wells?
Yes.
Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Ms. Haggerty?
Yes.
Mr. Daly?
Yes.
And myself, yes. So we will, Mr. Mata, you want to give the residents here and at home a quick sense of the timeline for getting that up?
We'll still need to coordinate purchase and installation, so it'll be a bit. I'll provide you a more official update once I have that from DPW. So nothing concrete this evening, sorry, but at least we have the vote and we'll move on from there.
Thank you. And thank you, Chief King. Thank you, Sergeant Ernst, for being here. Always a pleasure to see you both.
Mr. Chair, if I could, I just wanted to make just, one comment in terms
Of course.
and I should have said it in the earlier part of the conversation, but MassDOT did share some travel time data that they had pulled, and I think the issue that we're talking about this evening is something we've talked about for a while, is the crunch at Reedsdale and Randolph and the impact that happens. And their travel time data showed that the southbound average travel was at 15 minutes, which was 9 minutes longer than the pre-installation. So whereas the northbound travel during the AM peak is 8 minutes, which is 2 minutes longer. So we're anecdotally and through the data that we have seeing that the southbound commute is worse. And so, in terms of engaging with MassDOT is if we can able to resolve that problem a little bit more, maybe that will lead to less of the impacts that we're seeing here. So I should have mentioned earlier, I just wanted to share that information.
That is interesting though, isn't it?
They did not go up correspondingly. It is, the southbound commute is worse and significantly longer on average. And at the peak travel time was 22 minutes southbound.
22 minutes from
Reedsdale to
longest.
Chickatawbit.
from
This is,
Reedsdale to Chickatawbah.
this is the morning commute.
No,
No, evening.
That was
Yeah.
the PM commute.
Okay.
And then the AM commute heading north, the average was 8 minutes and the max was 9 minutes.
So significantly shorter AM commute.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, once people go into work, they should just stay there, I guess.
May I just speak briefly?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Just introduce yourself and your address.
Amy Morrison, 58 Clifton Road. I just wanted to thank you all for your support and for working with us on this. It means a lot to our neighborhood. And we very much appreciate that this, is a pilot. We want to continue that dialogue. We know that this is an important project on Randolph Ave. Certainly, we all live here and travel Randolph Ave as well. So thank you. And just, I think the other important thing to note for MassDOT is the upcoming apartment complexes that will, also impact this traffic flow sometime next year. So this, will very much be an ongoing thing. But we're very open to continuing to provide feedback and help in any way we can. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And I just return it back. I think, traffic issues can be really blood boiling in this town. And I feel like folks have really, approached this, I think, with the appropriate, really neighborliness and, willingness to solve problems. So very grateful to work with you on this and probably continue to work with you on it. So hopefully we'll still have good feelings in a year's time. But thank you very much. Mr. Milano, are we all set on that one then?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great, thank you. So moving on to item 6, we have Senior Tax Work-Off Program Income Eligibility Requirement.
I'll turn it over to our COA Director, Christine Stanton, to
Great to see you, Ms. Dan.
give a little background on the program and what the request is.
Thank you for
before
having
this
me.
evening.
So I'm coming before you tonight to ask you to consider raising the income guidelines that we currently use for the Senior Tax Work-Off Program. Currently, it's tied to what's considered low income, which is 60% of Massachusetts median income. So if you're a single homeowner, you cannot have gross income higher than $51,777, and if it's a two-person household, it's $67,709. So I did reach out to. It's traditionally administered by councils on aging in towns and cities. So I reached out to many, and I believe you should have a chart that I made. If not, it has about 12 cities and towns ranging from, we're in the lower end.
We do have it.
Thank you.
Yes.
We're on the lower end, as you can see. And actually, it was quite eye-opening of a exercise to do, because it's so different and it varies tremendously. It isn't tied to population. It's really set by the governing board of each city and town. So there are actually 5 that have no income limit, which I found interesting. But in discussions with Town Administrator Milano, we came up with what we think is reasonable, which would be using the same eligibility guidelines that the senior circuit breaker tax credit program uses, which are for a single individual, 72,000, head of household, 91,000, and married couples, 109,000. And as you can see, there are 2 towns on the comparison chart, Hingham and Westwood, who currently use those as guidelines. So we wouldn't be way out of line, I don't think. And we have 25 slots available in the program, and I've only been able to fill 14 of them. So I feel if we were able to, it would increase the amount of applicants and, utilize the program to the fullest and really help people in town who are hanging on to their homes and want to stay in town and age in place. So we see that every day here. So I appreciate your consideration.
Great, thank you. Questions from the members?
So 25 slots available. Last year you had 14.
Yes.
Do you know of folks who would have applied, but the income restrictions have limited them?
I only had one. So I think, just getting the word out that we have increased the guidelines would make it more accessible to people, and they would be more apt to apply. But only one was over the limit.
Is this recent that you've been unable to fill the 25 slots? In the past, have you been able to fill all
No, it's always been around the same level.
of them? Okay. Thank you.
I have a quick question. Is there a reason that that we set the eligibility limit, the income limit, to 60% of SMI? Was there like a policy rationale behind that?
It predates us, so,
Maybe.
and it could have been, like I mentioned, it's set to what's considered low income, which,
Yeah.
it's supposed to help residents of low income. But in the research I did, it was widely varied. You could make $200,000 and live in a $2 million house and work 133 hours to get $2,000 off your property tax. I was shocked, really. It was amazing. And it didn't matter the population or the amount of seniors in the town, so it was quite varied. So I think our proposal is fair, and I think it would help people, as I mentioned.
So, a quick question for me. We don't have a hand up online. This would then adjust going forward with this tax with the circuit breaker. Is that right? So in 5 years, it would be a little higher.
Correct. We would tie it to that as the guideline.
Did you, when you spoke with the other towns, are they also finding it hard to fill all of the slots, or did you inquire about how that's going for them?
It depends on the makeup of the senior population. And also, the other thing that was widely varied were towns have anything from 10 available slots to 100. Mm-hmm. So the Westwood has 100, and it was quite, as she said, I fill about 80 every
Wow.
year, and it's a lot of administrative work to get those off the ground, and also to find the positions throughout the town and schools and the skill sets of people too.
Right, it just starts to become a bit onerous if you've got almost like a full workforce.
Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Wells has his hand.
Mr. Wells, you recognized.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Christine, as always. Especially for Ms. Hagan and Mr. Dale, 2 things, and Ms. Milano can weigh in on this. For some reason, the Board of Assessors had some info for us on this. And I might be wrong, but as soon as, Christine, you started to speak, somehow the Board of Assessors came into my head. And I'm not sure why, but might be able to glean some additional. But last year, we also, Ms. Milano will recall, we had a request from, because it's a unique situation, 3 members of the auxiliary fire fall into that category, and they had asked to be included in this. As you know, Mr. Milano, it's a unique job that they do. They volunteer hundreds of hours every year, whether it's a crime scene or a multiple alarm fire tonight or a serious motor vehicle accident. They get up at zero cost, and this unit has existed my whole career. That we include, we had talked about looking into this and getting back to them, and I'm sad to say a whole year has gone by and it hasn't. It just popped into my head tonight as soon as the issue, I saw it on the agenda. I'm like, we need to address this. So if we could maybe figure out a way to do this, maybe you could talk to Paul Hopkins, the director, yourself, and maybe we could look to include them, especially where there's spots open. A lot of people wouldn't think of it because it's a public seat, but they're a volunteer unit, and if the members remember, Chief King spoke of them the last time he was here when he gave his department update report. He talked about the yeoman's work that they do for free, and 3 of them fall into this category. So just my comment. Other than that, that's all I wanted to add. I'm all set.
So, Member Wells, I do have 2 auxiliary fire members participating in the program. If there's a third.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I
All right.
do.
So I didn't know so that's good. So I didn't know they were in it. So that, you just made me a happy man. So disregard everything else I said. I'm all set.
Duly noted.
The point on the Board of Assessors, so the way this program is funded is through what is called the overlay. So a portion of the tax levy every year goes into the overlay, where exemptions are paid out of, abatements are paid out of, and this is paid out of as well. So if we are interested in increasing the number of positions, therefore increasing the cost to the town to run the program, we would then have to work with the Board of Assessors to increase the appropriation into the overlay to make sure the funding was available. But that's the interaction with the assessors. All the town hall financial departments are all involved in terms of administration, making sure that payments are done correctly, including the assessors. But the direct involvement is they set the appropriation where this amount is paid out of.
Which is a maximum of $50,000, 25 participants times 2,000.
Well, I think we can probably entertain a motion on this, unless there's other questions.
Yeah, I'll move to approve the recommended changes to the income eligibility requirements for the senior tax work-off program.
Second.
All right, motion made by Mr. Daly, seconded by Mr. Driscoll. Any further discussion? This will be a roll call vote. Mr. Wells.
Yes, sorry, Mr. Chair.
That's all right. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Ms. Haggerty.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
And myself, yes. So we'll go ahead and adjust that and keep us posted if there's anything that we can do to be helpful to help advertise or get the word out about this.
Sure.
It is a really great program, and appreciate you coming here and advocating for it.
Thank you very much for your support and all you do.
Thank you, Ms.
Have a
Daly.
good night.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7, Mr. Milano, is a fiscal year 27 budget.
Sure, and I'll group this with item 8 as well, just as
Okay.
just a process update more than anything. The Select Board Finance Committee is scheduled to meet on Friday morning, and we'll discuss the budget in greater detail at that meeting. I would plan to do a lengthier presentation about the budget at our meeting next week on the 16th as to where things stand, how things are looking. We're getting some data at the end of this week that will pull together a more fulsome update at our meeting next week. Procedurally, we've received all the departmental budget requests. Those have also been delivered to the Warrant Committee. The Warrant Committee members have been meeting with department heads. I'm attending the Warrant Committee meeting on Monday the 15th to talk about the budget as well. So the process is underway, and I wouldn't say we're ahead or behind the schedule. We're just generally on schedule in terms of where the budget is, and we'll share more concrete details next week. On capital, the Capital Committee likewise has been meeting, has had a couple of meetings so far. They met as a group to review their initial requests, and they met with the Consolidated Facilities Director, Tom McCarthy, last week to talk about the various requests for both town and school facilities. And then Thursday morning at 7:30, they have DPW Director Marina Fernandez in to talk about the various DPW capital requests as they undertake their work. So that is also in progress, and we have another meeting scheduled for next Thursday as well to keep that moving forward. So those are my updates on the budget. Just as in closing, I know I've said this several times at each of our meetings, but just the macro health insurance issues that we continue to work through. We should have more information on that this week that I'll be able to share next week. But the health insurance issue is real. We had a 14% premium increase for this fiscal year. We're looking at having to face premium increases that could potentially just as high as that in this upcoming year. Every 1% premium increase is about $140,000 on the budget. So it gets expensive really fast for both the employer, us, the town, as well as our employees who are bearing the other portion of that when the premiums go up. So we're, concerned about the impacts on health insurance on the budget. And then just as everybody knows, the cost of business continues to go up. So we'll pull together, like I said, a more comprehensive update at our meeting next week.
Great. Any questions?
Mr. Wells has raised his hand.
Mr. Wells.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So for the capital committee, we may meet on Christmas Day if we have to, just in case we have to this year. That's all I wanted to say. Mr. Chair, as I had sent information, I had 4 things on my calendar tonight, and so I'm fine with that. I am going to leave shortly. My only ask is if we could defer the 2 committee appointments until the next meeting. I think one's capital and one is the new committee. I'd like to be able to weigh in on those. Other than that, I'm on board with everything else that is before us tonight.
Do we have are those committees meeting before next Tuesday?
Capital is meeting on Thursday, but that individual, whoever was appointed, wouldn't be sworn in.
They wouldn't be
and
sworn in
everything else
anyways.
And signed up likely by then.
Okay.
I agree. As chair of that committee, I don't anticipate seeing the new member before the first of the year.
Is there any objection to deferring those items to next Tuesday? And as a reminder, we are meeting next Tuesday. Will you be here in person, Mr. Wells? Will we get to see you?
I don't know, maybe, is this going to be a long meeting or a short meeting?
Well, it depends on you.
TBD.
Oh, yeah. All right, so, don't say that. So if we're going to defer those, I'll figure that out. I don't know if I'll be on Zoom, but I will be participating. I just don't know whether it'll be on Zoom. As you know, I'm deeply committed to my brother's keeper this time of year, so it's a commitment I've made for many years, so
Okay.
I kind of put them first. So.
Would you be all right? We have one application for the Council on Aging as an associate member. We could run through that one.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine with that. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, I'm fine with that. It was
Okay.
only the 2 new committees, that's all.
Okay. We will defer on those then for you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Have a good night. I'll see you on Tuesday. And thank you. I didn't know, Nick, that you had included the auxiliary firefighters. I'm very pleased to hear that. That was a great move on our part because they do so much for this town. So thank you all for that.
All Christine, not me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Wells. So I think then we'll have a longer discussion on the FY27 budget on next Tuesday. So we're going to then financial policies, reserve policy, second reading.
Yes, Mr. Chair, we had talked very briefly, we had talked briefly about the reserve policy last week. I kind of ran through the basic elements of it. I didn't get any questions or comments in the intervening time period. Happy to take that up this evening, or if the board would prefer to take that up with the budget together next week. I think our goal was to have it done by the end of this calendar year, so now that the first reading has been done, the board can take up and approve it at its either this evening or next week.
Any preference from the members?
I think Member Hegarty and I have looked at it a lot, so.
Yeah, I can't look at it again.
So I'm happy to take a motion on this.
Yeah.
But then do I have to read it all again?
No.
Okay. That's good.
I mean, I think this is a great thing. It, it's going to help us have more financial discipline, and, give us more of a cushion for, some minor shocks here and there. But really, really to have these reserves, it's what municipalities should have. And I really want to thank Nick for leading, Mr. Milano, for leading us in this process, and for everybody. We had folks on the Budget Coordination Committee take a peek, folks on the Warrant Committee take a peek. This was a very collaborative process, I feel like, and I think it's a big step forward for the town.
Great. Well, I'd be happy to take a motion then if we'd like to move ahead with it tonight.
Motion to approve our new financial policies, new reserve policy after the second reading.
Motion's been
Second.
made and seconded. Mr. Milano, do we have anything we need to do before? So I don't have to read it all again?
Nope.
Okay, that's great.
It was in the select board meeting packet, this meeting and for the prior meeting as well.
Right. No, I just meant in terms of reading it out loud.
I just meant it was shared publicly as well.
Great. So motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion on this? Mr. Wells is now off the meeting, is it?
He is, yep.
So we can vote in a standard fashion. So all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, so that carries unanimously. Great. Well, let's move ahead to net metering credit proposal agreement, item number 10. Mr. Milano.
Sure, thank you. And this is more of an introduction to a proposal that we are currently evaluating. We've been approached to serve as an off-taker of net metering credits. So to try to simplify this, a solar developer is going to develop a project in Massachusetts and will earn credits that they would like to then sell. So they've approached the town of Milton to purchase those credits. The price of the credits is based on utility electrical prices, and then we purchase the credits at a discounted rate. So the proposal that we're currently evaluating is to purchase the value of the credits at 17.5% discount. The credits can then be applied to electric bills across the town and Milton Public Schools to offset our energy costs. So in the market, there's various elements of supply, distribution. Right now, what we're basically buying is a coupon that would defray town and school electrical budgets through no necessarily, it's not our solar array, it's nothing that we're involved in financially other than being the off-taker that would have a financial commitment to buy the credits and then apply them to various accounts to earn those savings.
So basically, we would get $1 for every 83 cents we
Correct.
spent.
Yes, exactly.
We would have a $1 credit.
Yeah. So where this stands currently is actually a Milton resident from Rewild Renewables has reached out, engaged with both Nick Connors and now Kai Mueller, the town's energy manager, through the Energy Manager Grant Program that we received funding for. We've evaluated with a couple of our partners in terms of folks that we work with. So we're still looking at the numbers, crunching the numbers a bit, but the idea is that we would apportion out somewhere between 80% of our current electrical load, so not 100% of the electricity that we have today. Purchase credits for those, which is about 4.2 million kilowatt hours a year. So we would have about, in round numbers, $1 million expense that would save us anywhere between $180,000 to $200,000 depending on the math. So that's very broad. Kind of the concept is we tie up a percent of our load, and in exchange for that, we get credits that we buy as a coupon for our cost. I would say the risks would be it's a 25-year agreement, so we're looking at that term, and if the electricity market changes drastically, if electricity is free 20 years from now, that would be a risk for us. But it's those kinds of things that, in terms of the length of the deal, it introduces a little bit of risk. Since we're always buying at a discount, in theory, if we were to have enough solar, enough alternative energy production that Milton has directly, if our electricity load goes down and we don't have enough usage or dollars to spend the credits on, we could have a growing balance of credits without a place to apply them. The flip side of that token is even if we're able to do even more solar or geothermal or whatever, as the town moves to electrify, our load would likely increase rather than decrease, even if we have alternative sources. So where it stands now is we've sent the agreement to KP Law for their review. So they actually turned around an initial set of comments earlier this evening that we've shared with them. We have further review to do on the finances, but I wanted to introduce it to the board at this time to see if there's any questions, concerns, or comments that will be helpful as we work through it before we were to bring it back to the board.
Great. Questions or comments from the members?
I mean, I'd be very interested in understanding the, what our potential savings are. I mean, obviously to address like any of our fixed costs in this way is, pretty big. I don't know that there is like huge risk that, our electricity usage is going to go down in the future. Given and that electricity prices are going to crash, just given the way the economy and technology are moving. But I'm not an expert on that. So my question is, in terms of electricity usage and payment, do all of the departments go in and pay for electricity together, or is there segmentation across Milton Public Schools and the rest of the town departments? And, just basically, like, how would that work?
So we don't have, in terms of how it works today, is various departments have electricity accounts within their
Right.
budget, and then they pay for.
So it's not centralized?
It's not centralized in terms of where all the money is budgeted. It is in the school department budget. It's actually, I don't want to speak to that. So every account is basically treated. DPW has a ton between the street lights, traffic lights, pumping stations, et cetera. So they have a ton of accounts that are considered under DPW. Each of the town departments that has a standalone building will have an electrical account in their budget that funds each of those buildings. And then the way this would work is that we would tell Eversource which accounts to apply the credits to.
Okay.
So, we would look at the larger electrical loads that would apply, and we would tell Eversource where to apply the credits.
So when you're going to consider the, reappropriation of funds, right? So like I think of this as you free up money, right? Like how do you have any thoughts yet on how that decision making is going to work? Like will the savings just be spread town-wide, or, is DPW going to say, all right, now we've freed up this and we're going to buy X number of trucks, or the schools is like, all right, plausibly, we've got an extra 80 grand.
We have not had that conversation that's more of the second half of the equation. It's an important, it's a good question though.
It's going to be an interesting conversation.
But even if we were to look at it as, I would tell you we'd try to share it so that our expenses go down by a similar percentage. They will have larger buildings, but fewer of them. But between town hall, the new fire headquarters, there are larger accounts on the town side as well. So that would be my initial reaction, is to try to portion
it's
out.
It's a good problem to have.
Yes, right. Agreed.
Other questions?
And in terms of your question, in terms of the potential savings amount, I didn't want to nail on a number just because I just wanted to have it when it's accurate and final. But we'd be looking at potentially anywhere between, I'd say, the 150 to 200 is what we could look at conceivably in savings. But we need to nail down the numbers a little bit better. Yep.
That is a lot of money.
Is that annually?
Yes.
Put it towards the health insurance.
Well, it won't hurt. That's for sure. It'll help solve the next. Help us with next year.
Just remind me again, the contract is for a percentage of our kilowatt hours, or it's for a specific amount of kilowatt hours?
So we would execute it with an expected amount, and then it'll be final, like a maximum, no more than a certain amount of kilowatt hours. And then once the project is finalized and that production is finalized, it'll be adjusted based on what that project's final consumption is. And then they always include a de-escalation in terms of declining consumption or declining generation coming out of the solar year over year. Right. So that it would, in theory, go down each year slightly. From the first year.
And then I'm relatively familiar with energy credits. So this doesn't restrict our ability to buy electricity from where we are already buying it, though.
Correct. And that's because the issue would be we currently have a 3-year contract, but it's directly billed on Eversource's bills. We don't pay Constellation directly for the supply that we get from Constellation. That would introduce more of a challenge because that's like half the bill would be not Eversource. Because they're all on Eversource bills, the credits can be applied entirely to the entire Eversource bill, which covers the supply portion of it.
Thank you. Other questions? So it sounds like we can look forward to seeing the final version of this. What KP has sent comments through just tonight.
Correct.
I guess so we haven't seen them yet.
So we turn them around to Rewild. We'll share them with yourself, and then have their attorneys review as well, and try to keep the project moving forward from here.
Great. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. And for those who are not familiar with energy credit sharing, doesn't mean that we actually are using that solar power. It's just we're getting credited for the creation of it and supporting the creation of it. So, and saving money at the same time. Item 11 is a one-day liquor license. Would anybody like to make the motion?
I would like to make a motion to approve a one-day liquor license for the Milton Arts Center at 334 Edge Hill Road for February 6th, 2026, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. for first Friday in February.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comments? I will make a comment very quickly that the first Friday event in December was a holiday event. It was a lot of fun, and there was a really incredible turnout. My expectation is usually the February one is love songs for Valentine's Day.
Ooh.
So if you're looking for a date idea, not on Valentine's Day, but Valentine's Day adjacent, I would suggest joining. So with no further discussion, unless anybody else has something, we can vote on this in the standard fashion. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, it carries unanimously. Item 12 is our 2026 liquor license renewals. And in the interest of saving time, I will make the motion on this one unless there's any discussion.
I just wanted to note that for liquor licenses, everything on our list is what's existing. There's nothing new. These are all renewals. The one that you won't see, obviously, is the plate, which is going through its process. So everything is coming up for renewal, whether it's
Nobody
common
has
vic
any
or liquor license.
violations or anything?
Nope. And,
Okay.
And there's nothing new.
And the building department completed their annual inspections of all of the locations as well. So
Great.
They've got their paperwork in, and Lynn's handled those. So it's a lot of work just to kind of handle the administration of it. So much appreciation both to Lynn and building department for conducting their inspection. So
Thanks as always to Lynn.
heavy lift, but we're
Thanks, Lynn.
at the finish line is approaching. So thank you.
So I will make a motion to approve the 2026 liquor license renewals contingent upon the receipt of all necessary certificates required by Chapter 304 of the Acts of 2004, signed by the building inspector and the fire department, as listed on the agenda.
Second? Tie.
Tied. Ms. Haggerty has it. Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Unanimous. Our next item is 2026 Sunday opening permit renewals. Mr. Milano, do we have any? This is for folks who are allowed to sell alcohol between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. on Sundays.
For package stores, correct?
For package stores, yes. Is there anything additional for that?
Nope.
Would anybody else like to make the motion? I'm happy to do it again. Mr. Daly.
Move to approve the 2026 Sunday opening permit renewals to sell alcohol between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. for the businesses listed on the agenda. Central Liquor Mart, Delaney.
Oh, you don't have to read them then. Yeah.
I'll second.
All right, seconded by Mr. Driscoll.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, carries unanimously. Discussion approval, item 14, 2026 entertainment license renewals.
My turn to move. Make
You're
the
very
motion.
welcome to do it.
Okay. I would like to move to approve the 2026 entertainment license renewals as listed on the agenda.
I will second for a change of pace. Entertainment license allows you to do karaoke, I'm guessing.
TVs and speakers.
TVs and speakers. Okay, there you go. So motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great. I love the end of year business. We have our 2026 common victualler license renewals. Would anybody like to make that motion? Mr. Driscoll, would you like to?
Move to approve the 2026 entertainment license renewal.
Oh, the next one.
Next page.
Where?
The next page, motion to approve the renewal
The
of common
common
victualler.
vicular licenses, this one.
I'm sorry.
No worries.
Move to approve the renewal of common
Victualler.
victualler licenses for 2026 as listed on the agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And we are going to, for our board and committee, oh wait, we do
We have one more
one
Class
more.
2 dealer.
Yes, Ms. Haggerty.
Move to approve the Class 2 dealer license renewal for 2026 for RBM Motor Masters, Inc., DBA, Milton Auto Repair, located at 944 Canton Ave, Imperium Automotive, LLC, DBA, S&E Automotive, located at 131 Brook Road.
Motion's
Mass.
been made. I'll second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then we are done then, I think, with our 2026 licenses. For item 17, per Mr. Wells's request, we are only going to have a vote here on our the Council on Aging associate member. So I'm happy to take a motion on that.
I will make a motion to approve, to appoint Deborah Fridraki as an associate member of the Council on Aging for a one-year term.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those.
Did we miss one for the capital improvement?
So
We're
Mr.
pushing
Wells
that
asked
out.
if we could push those to next Tuesday because he
All right.
had some thoughts about them. So that's why we're just doing the Council on Aging. So motion's made and seconded. Did somebody second it?
I'll second.
Aye, second.
Okay, Mr. Driscoll seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
If I could just plug again
yes,
our board and
Mr.
committee
Milano.
appointments.
Please
The
plug
master
away.
plan committee, we received, I believe, we're at one applicant for that. So if anybody's interested in the master plan committee,
I thought we had two.
we might have two. But we
We still need three.
I'll keep,
we need 7
yeah.
candidates. Between this board, the planning board, and the town moderator, is a 9-member committee.
Oh, so that's just across the board. We've gotten
Yeah.
maybe 2
Yeah.
total. Okay.
Yep. And then taxation aid committee, we do have 3 slots to fill. So if anybody else is interested, and then our boards and committees, the full roster of what is available and who we're looking for is available on the town website.
Am I right to assume then that both Ms. Robbins and Ms. Steele could be appointed to the taxation aid committee?
Correct.
Okay.
It's a 5-member committee. That includes the treasurer and the chair of the board of assessors, and then 3 residents appointed by the select
I
board.
think Mr. Wells just was interested in the capital.
capital
Yeah. So
improvement.
do we want to do that? Do we want
Let's
to
do
do
taxation aid.
Okay. I'll take a motion on that.
Move to appoint Amy Robbins and Judith Steele to the Taxation Aid Committee for a one-year term.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And per Mr. Milano's advice, please, if you're interested in volunteering for the town, these committees are so important and you can make a big difference on them.
And we did receive a good bunch of applicants, so we still have some more that we'll bring forward to the next meeting. So we did get some in the door.
All right. We have our meeting minutes from October 21st, 2025. This was, Mr. Driscoll, you were not yet with us at this point. So I will take a motion on this one.
Move to approve the meeting minutes dated October 21st, 2025.
Second, sorry.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstentions?
John, you
Oh,
wanna
I'm
abstain?
Mr. Driscoll will abstain. Okay, wow. Are we already at the town administrator's report? It's 8:25.
We're cruising.
I know.
Gonna get to go to bed at a great time.
Tis the season.
Yeah.
Mr. Milano, how are we
Thank you.
doing as a town? Please inform
Good,
us.
thank you. The holiday stroll and tree lighting was on Saturday evening. Thank you to everybody that attended. The trees on the light did turn on when the countdown ended, so my stress for the day ended then when that happened, which is always worrisome, but nothing to worry about because of our good team down at DPW, Jack Calabro, Brian McCarthy, Sarah Lacombe, and I know there are a bunch of others I'm forgetting who were involved. Apollo Lighting, Paul Valhuli, who did the lighting on the exterior, they came in and donated 2 days of time to do that and the equipment to do so. The tree, which was purchased by Mr. Driscoll and Anthony Musto, so we appreciate their efforts. Hunt Tree for putting the tree up, and the chamber and all the volunteers that helped pull that event together. So we appreciate it and look forward to another event next year. We will be having, Rabbi Benjamin is going to host a little welcoming to Hanukkah on December 14th on the deck as the menorah was also installed next to the holiday tree. That will be the first night of Hanukkah, which is Sunday, December 14th at 5:30 p.m. So we look forward to having that, and anybody who would like to come out, it was a nice event last year, and look forward to seeing folks again this year. Those are the two events I wanted to flag. I don't have much beyond that at this time. I should note actually that we have 4 new firefighters who started last week, Aiden Smith, Cameron Dickens, John Clunan, and Aiden Hoey. They've been working in the department this week and last week, and then they start at the academy for a 10-week course at the academy, and we'll get them working after that. So welcome aboard, and best of luck at the academy.
Mr. Driscoll.
Yeah, Nick, could you, on that deck, there was a decorative light hit Thanksgiving weekend. And Jack Calabro said that's the second one, and they cost like $25,000. And both cars were unregistered or uninsured.
Beautiful. Okay.
One was a year ago and one was this weekend. I mean, Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay. I hadn't spoken to DPW about that, but I'll get a sense
it's right
of what's
across
happening
from the
there.
shelf. There was one done a year ago.
Yep.
And then one Thanksgiving weekend.
Okay.
Right along, what's that, Bryant Ave, right?
On Bryant, yep. On the other side. Okay.
Yeah. Plus they hit the arrow board, right, or the signage?
Yeah, the
This
signboard.
weekend?
Yes. Yeah, across from you. Yep. So.
Same area.
Yep.
Okay. For the chair's report, I think the only thing that I will add to, other than echoing Mr. Milano's thanks to the chamber and everyone involved in the tree lighting, I'd like to point out Buba Diame, am I saying his last name right? Diame, was honored for his work. I think it was Heart of a Giant work. So congratulations to Mr. Diame for that and having his volunteer service recognized. And I encourage everyone to come out to the lighting of the Hanukkah, also known as the menorah, on Sunday at 5:30. The Frozen musical happened over right before Thanksgiving break and sold out all 4 shows. So kudos to the Milton High School Theater Department for putting on a fantastic play, as always, or musical, I should say. And congrats to the high school men's football team that ended the season on with a nice victory over our rivals down in Braintree. That was exciting to see. Unfortunately, my stepson broke his hand the final practice and wasn't able to participate. C'est la vie. Good news is he's a sophomore and probably wouldn't have played anyway. So, but we're grateful to all of those involved in making that a great season, including the marching band, which I believe won some honors at the state competition recently as well. Anything else that anyone would like to call attention to happening around town? Okay. Public comment response. We have nothing to respond to for that. Future meeting dates. We have December 16th, which is next week from today, the 2025, January 13th and January 27th of 2026. This will be our return to our typical second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. We got a little funky around town meeting and then through the holidays, but we should be back on course for next year. And so everyone, I think, is duly informed and will be able to take a nice holiday break. Future agenda items, anything that folks want to bring up or that we haven't discussed yet? Ms. Hegarty.
So perennial item that I've been bringing up is the opioid settlement funds.
They're coming next week.
Oh, they are? All right, cool.
There you go. Okay, so if nobody else has any future agenda items, I'm going to read a few things here. Are we on all of these, or can I skip any
You
of
can
these?
skip, Mr. Chair,
Thank you, Mr. Lora.
25 and 26.
All right. So I will move to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, Milton Clerical Unit of the Southeastern Public Employees Association, Milton Professional Management Association, Milton Public Employee Association, Milton Firefighters Local 1116, Milton Police Officers, Milton Superior Officers, Milton Library Association. Based on my belief, the discussion of this matter in open session may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the Select Board. The Select Board will not return to open session.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hegarty. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Driscoll.
Yes.
Ms. Hegarty.
Yes.
Mr. Daly.
Yes.
And myself, yes. I would like to move to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation in the matter of the Town of Milton OADR docket number.
Oh, nope, skip that one. Sorry.
Sorry, skipping that. Sorry, yeah, you said that. I would like to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, Town of Milton v. John A. Irwin, Jr., trustee of the Fairfax Road Realty Trust, et al., number 24 TL 000716. Based on my belief that the discussion of this matter in open session may have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the Select Board, the Select Board will not return to open session.
Second.
Seconded by Ms. Hegarty. This is a roll call vote. Mr. Driscoll?
Yes.
Ms. Hegarty?
Yes.
Mr. Daly?
Yes.
And myself, yes. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes. Second.
Don't turn it off yet, Mr. Daly.
Don't touch that switch.
Just when you thought you were out, you're getting pulled back in. Motion's been made. This is just our standard vote. All in favor?
Aye.
So I would like to call to order a meeting of the Governor Stoughton trustees for December 9th, 2025. I'm sorry?
I have nothing to report on the
We can skip that one.
session. So
Well, then I will take a motion to adjourn from the Governor Stoughton trustees. All right, that was the shortest meeting ever. Seconded by Mr. Driscoll. All in favor?
Aye.
Now we can turn off our microphones. Thank you, everyone, for joining us.